One thing I've been thinking about lately is that loyalty and alignment are not the same thing. And honestly, that was a difficult realization for me. But because when someone has traveled with you for years, it's easy to assume they still align with the purpose of the cultural experience. It's easy to think they've been here before, they know we travel, they know how it works, they understand what we're about, the values, the missions, the objective. But I've learned that that's not always true. Sometimes people stay, but the alignment slowly disappears. And because it happens gradually, you don't always see it immediately. You excuse things, you rationalize things, you tell yourself it's a bad day. They were having a bad day. It was a misunderstanding, it was a personality conflict, an isolated incident. But then another incident happens, then another, then another, then another, and eventually you realize you're looking no longer at isolated incidences anymore. You're looking at a very deep pattern, a pattern that matters. What I've learned over the years is that one of the biggest warning signs is when the experience stops being about the experience, we've got a problem. When the focus shifts away from culture, education, enlightenment, mutual respect for the vendors, the Italians, the Greeks, you move away from learning, away from relationships, away from local people, away from the group, and starts becoming centered around individual wants, individual demands, and individual agendas. And I want to be very clear. It's not about making mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. That's normal. The Italians and Greeks are very forgiving. I make mistakes. I was just making mistakes again. You've made mistakes. It's normal. We all have. This is about repeated behavior, repeated situations where local people feel disrespected, repeated situations where other women feel excluded, repeated situations where the atmosphere changes because one person or a small group keeps pulling the focus back to themselves. And eventually you have to ask a difficult question. Are we still serving the mission? Or are we serving a few individuals who no longer support the mission? That's not an easy question, especially when you've known people for years, especially when you've traveled multiple times, especially when there's a history. But leadership requires honesty, and one of the things I've learned is that preserving the mission is more important than preserving every customer. Because if the mission is damaged, everyone loses. The local people lose, the vendors lose, the hotel owners lose, restaurant owners lose, the drivers lose, the women who came for the right reasons lose, and eventually the entire experience loses. And honestly, I think that's one of the hardest parts of leadership, is accepting that loyalty by itself is not enough. Alignment matters. Respect matters. Positive participation matters. And when that alignment disappears, sometimes the most responsible thing you can do is acknowledge what you're seeing and protect the purpose that you created.